to win, I don't mean to offend. The greatest on the mic, mightiest with the pen. Losing never been a choice, but a line is the same. Ascending, word, bending verse, birth in the gym. Akin to the best, never aiming for less. Opposition so foul, got me calling for rest. Who's next to get bested? Mind, soul, and flesh is antithesis of mess. It's the verses so clean, so long. Better catch a God, throw him the scenes. Dreams manifested, you get what I mean? God always had a plan, he created for me. Success only means that I did what he seen. Got the game and the fans locked in like a key. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Yeah, I think we got one.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
So you're over there praying for no tech issues. You try something new. I can't see nothing.
Oh, you didn't see the video come up?
No, it was a complete black screen, and I'm like, let me text him and let him know I can't see nothing.
Oh wow! I just got in your text as we were getting ready to come in and join as the video was.
I'm gone again.
Are you really? So I can still see you though, so I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay, well I will just focus on the dot.
Oh, focus on the dot. Okay, well, focus on the dot because you look amazing. You sound amazing. It's all good. You're there. Because it was funny because the new thing with StreamYard. So all those listening to the Knight&Craig show, we use StreamYard as our platform. So I got ready to record this today's show and episode. And I was like, oh man, cool new feature. I was so busy texting Shell about what's going on, and you didn't get a chance to enjoy the fancy new feature.
I'll have to watch it on the replay because I'm flying in the dark, y'all. I feel like. So I just came back from a business trip to Denver, where I frequent. Y'all know I got my own. Knight Consulting is officially a business with Denver, state of Colorado. Well, Denver's the city, but state of Colorado, Secretary of State.
I don't think people knew it like that. People knew it was business in the state of California. California. Well, we give the intro now, but ladies and gentlemen, the new business in the state of Colorado. Denver, Knight Consulting.
Yeah, but yeah, for real. So I've been traveling back and forth quite a bit, and the last few times that I've traveled, there's been a lot of weather issues. First starting in San Diego when we had all of that fog and the marine layer was thick. My flight was delayed like 5 times. And then going back to Denver this time, getting back last night, they're supposed to have snow. And so I've been taking pictures, and I always, wherever I go, it doesn't matter where I go, I'm like, I brought the sunshine because I am my daddy's sunshine and I'm from, San Diego, California. And so I always say this little prayer, like, Lord, I love the snow, but I can't get stuck here because I don't have a place to stay. So that's another topic for another day. And these hotels be expensive, but literally in the air, sometimes looking out the window, it's just like this. It's black, it's gray. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for technology in those moments and for people who have studied to show themselves approved, being the pilots that they are and getting me home safely. But that's how I feel literally right now. Like I am in the dark because I see nothing.
Well, that's bananas. Well, maybe I should take a quick moment to.
I don't know what you would do differently though.
Hold on one moment. Let's hit a pause right there. So can you see now? Can you see?
I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. All of my notifications are coming up, but I'm here. That's great.
Awesome. Well, you might say it's your snowfall or your fog, your morning haze is gone because you was gone. Well, on our side, we could see you and hear you and everything, but on your side, we weren't present or accounted for.
I am all good. Listen, we are almost to the end of another season and coming close to beginning another season. And this morning we were talking about how the order of things and how it matters. And you were talking about nesting and all of that, which, shout out to Dr. and Mr. Rylan Clark for being on the show last time, talking about empty nesting. But I thought that our pre-show conversation about you nesting and preparing for something new if you will. Now, Craig ain't having no more babies, and neither am I. So don't be putting that out there in the world. Ain't nobody nesting to have no babies. We got all the babies that we need, and all the ones that have been pushed out or flew out of the nest are safe, have landed. So let's just make that clear. Nesting is also about, cleaning out as mothers do as they're preparing for new babies. But I think in this season, we're both preparing for new dreams and new visions and, manifestation and opening up ourselves to clean out the old and
Yeah.
be ready for the new or be ready for that promise. And so that's where I would love to pick up as we talk today about finding me again.
Mhm.
Think that was a powerful note that we ended on with the Clarks of, yeah, looking forward to this empty nest stage. And then what's next? How do I find myself in this empty nest? How do I find myself in this space? And so you were sharing about nesting. And so I'm interested, what do you do when you nest? And then what are you actually preparing for?
Well, it's funny. The nesting concept to me is, I don't want to say foreign, because I've lived through it, several times when, well,
Hmm.
the wife did it, but I
Hmm.
never thought of myself as having those nesting attributes or qualities. But as I look back over my life, when changes have occurred like this, where we've changed locations or just, stages and phases, work and business or
Hmm.
whatever, I can feel those kind of frustrating moments, right? Where you just don't feel comfortable in your own skin, or in this case, my own environment, where,
Hmm.
here recently, I didn't like the bed I was sleeping in anymore, because it wasn't necessarily comfortable, and the headboard was kind of jacked up, and I wanted something new. And today I've been fussing with this office and computer setup, which I've had for, I don't know, well over a year, almost two.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's had the same camera look, the same feel. I'm using the same folding, table as my desk
Hmm.
since I got here, in 2019. What was wrong with it? And yeah, it just, today was like, you know what? I don't like it anymore. This is horrible. I don't like this folding desk. It's one of these folding desks
Hmm.
where it's not even called a desk. So I'm a cancel word. I ain't granting it desk status. It's a folding table that's meant for temporary use
Come
only.
on.
It ain't for us to be building no cycle of life on.
Mm,
It's
mm,
one of the ones that
mm,
fold half, and it's got this peak crown in the middle where
mhm,
the hinge is,
mhm,
and I
mhm,
like to sit in the middle of my desk. So since I don't have a desk, this table center, it's got this peak, and one side of the peak, your computer leans this way. Other side of the peak, your computer leans this way.
Come on.
So,
Uh-huh.
through the MacGyveristic nature of my mentality, I'm able
Guyveristic.
to make it
Let's
make
spell
it
that.
even. And I do have a level for all those who wonder what in the heck this is. This is a level. Let me show the bubble side. Oh, yeah, there's a bubble
Uh-huh.
side. And I sit it on top of my camera. So the camera
Uh-huh.
sits straight, even though my screen is still cockeyed. And I don't like that no more, Shell. So as a
Mhm.
part of the new phases of life, we're gonna do some things that are gonna make us not sacrifice the things and overlook and settle for some things that are just janky, jacked up, and are frustrating. Because in your workspace, in
Mhm.
your life space, if things aren't the way they need to, which allow
Mhm.
you to operate at your peak efficiency, as they say, right? Or
Mhm.
operate optimally, or just how you
Mhm.
comfortably want to flow,
Mhm.
always be, every time I sit at this desk, I'm always thinking, damn, I hate this desk. Man, they
Mhm.
a better desk. I just,
Mhm.
you don't need that. Then get a desk.
Right.
Why is it such a big thing? Get a desk. Is it that hard?
Mhm.
Well, then you have to then not allow yourself to create those excuses and those barriers and those reasons why you don't spend the money or do that. Whether you think you're not worthy, which is some of the things that was at the core of who I was.
Mhm.
That's why this
Mhm.
topic of finding me again is so important, because I didn't
Mhm.
used to be that way. I wasn't that dude that always put himself last. I became the
Mhm.
last place finisher when I became a father. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that we need to put ourselves in place of our spouses, in place of our children, in terms of the pecking order and how we create things and shepherd and do. But we are the leaders of our households, right? And if we're not healthy and whole, then the rest of the household is not. Even though they may feel like they are, how we are matters. So I
Mhm.
need to get back to, as I'm finding me, I'm getting to the point where I'm finding me, and I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Off camera, I was sharing how I was given this kind of word from this new kind of mindset I find myself in, and
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's going to be called the Reclamation Project, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
reclaiming the mindset I used to have when I was
Mm-hmm.
young, where I wasn't an arrogant so and so, right? But I at least thought that I had a higher sense of who I was than I have at this particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back to that show. I want to. There's no reason. Just the reason I accepted and that
Mm-hmm.
I was because the wife died, and I was an older parent with 5 sons.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I'm just going to accept any kind of crap,
Mm.
because I should be satisfied if anybody looked my way and come my way, because you got all this baggage now. But
Mm.
I love a lot of the adages and anecdotes of Coach Prime. I know I'm long-winded this morning. I apologize.
You're good. You ate breakfast. You are
I
you
did.
are calm and clear. The
Uh,
skies have opened up, and
yeah,
the world is back in order.
yeah.
You're good.
And so I love listening to Coach Prime. Shout out to Deion Sanders, man, because he'll tell you when he first got to Boulder and he took that job and showed up at his first team meeting, he says, "I'm bringing my own baggage, and it's Louis."
Mm.
And I'm
Mm.
not saying
Mm.
I'm a Louis Vuitton guy at all. I've never had anything with the LV patch, satch, or look or nothing,
Mm-hmm.
fake or otherwise. But it's the philosophy, it's the mindset. There's a quality, because I'm doing a lot of branding for clients and myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you set a brand up, you want a certain thought and process. I was just teaching, or not teaching, I was just sharing my story in a classroom full of students, two classrooms full of students.
Yes, beautiful. I saw that.
Appreciate it. And just to be able to share this philosophy, we talked about branding, and when you see a certain brand, what do you think of it? You have to create that look or that feel from
Mm-hmm.
what you want your brand. And we are our own brand, whether we want to believe it, think of it or not. We are.
Right.
So when I have people think about me and how they deal with me and my businesses, I want them to think of excellence. I want them to deal with me in a certain way that's respectful and at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't
Mm-hmm.
deal with me at the same level, I'm not going to project that same desire and that same sense of what I'm thinking, what I want. I'm going to project how I am and how I'm feeling.
Right.
So I'm on the reclamation project, Shell. I'm finding me again.
I love it. So many things. I do want to go. I want to go back just a little bit, because this is what you said, MacGyveristic, and in that mindset, the way I heard what you said was, I'm settling for anything, or I'm just finding something to put something together. The end result may be successful. The end result may be, um, I may be able to save the world within 3 seconds of this bomb going off,
Mhm.
but how much more effective would I be, and how much more would I be able to accomplish with my intentionality and with setting my mindset, now going to Coach Prime, on that Louis Vuitton mindset.
Mhm.
Everybody has some sort of baggage, and that's part of what the show is about. Is it's about not airing dirty laundry, but it's to show the commonalities that we all have when life is life in.
Yeah.
We're losing things, we're losing people, we're resetting, we're nesting, we're trying to prepare for this next thing. But if we're not sure what that next thing is, or we don't have a clue, then how will we know that we've gotten there? How will we know that the Louis is a Louis and not a Fooey?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we're just grabbing at straws in that MacGyver mindset, and I love MacGyver, I love a good MacGyver, I love a good, different cultures have different names for what MacGyver does. Some
Yeah.
people call it Jimmy Rig, some people call it Ninja Rig,
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
so depending on what culture you come from, there's a space and time where it's necessary to be MacGyver.
Yeah.
There's a space and time when it's necessary to use what you got,
Yeah.
and everything is just scattered all over the place. You got to use what you got. But there also comes a time when you're using what you got comes from a different place. It's not just reaching outside of yourself. It's getting to that space where you're reaching within yourself. And that's what I think finding ourselves finding me again means. I would love to hear a little bit more about what you're actually preparing for in terms of what do you feel like is next. And I know that's always this kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I like that question. Sometimes I don't, for myself, because like part of me is going, I don't really know what's next because I'm listening to hear what's next. But at the end of the day, there is a goal. There's something that I want to reach. So maybe it's not about telling every single process step, but maybe it's about what does it look like to find you again. Maybe that's the
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna probably answer it in wander and not answer at the same time. But
question.
it goes back to, I think, almost 2 years ago when I felt like I needed to be pre- prepared
Hmm.
so that I'm ready, or prepared when I'm ready. And when I used to say that to people, I was like, "What are you talking about? How are you doing that?" As it sounds like it's the same thing that you're doing. I'm like, "Well, no, I need to make sure I need to be prepared. I need to be ready. I need to be ready. So when it's time to be released and to do whatever that next is, whenever that next comes,
Hmm.
not saying, oh, let me go learn and get ready to do that."
Hmm.
So I'm learning. I'm in school to get an AA in graphic arts and design. And
Hmm.
my thought when I first started doing that, I'm starting September and I'm gonna get to June and I'm done. Well, life
Hmm.
be life, man. And I'm not gonna finish in June because
Hmm.
some of the next things that I need that are coming to happen are
Hmm.
getting in the way of me finishing that short-term goal. I'm still
Mm.
going to get the AA, don't get me wrong, but the next thing, business is expanding and my time is getting more, my orders are coming more, and
Mhm.
it's getting in the way of the homework to be successful. Now, I'm not looking to have a GPA that's high enough to transfer successfully or in the high rate. So I just need to pass fail. I need to get in and get out and be done. But at
Mhm.
the same time, I need to be able to put in the work to learn the material, to actually understand the
Mhm.
concepts and be able to apply them. Because what's next is the use of all these magic, and not only magic, these cool aspects of graphic design that
Mhm.
which I know a lot of
Mhm.
us don't, you know. So it's changing the way I do things. And so in those change, I'm ready for change in that area. I'm ready for
Mhm.
exciting change in my house. Like we talked
Mhm.
about last episode, the empty nesting, that's
Right.
been a factor in the change that helps. I need to be ready for that when I'm on my own again. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm also getting ready for, there's a social change that's coming for me. I've been a widow for 11 years.
Mhm.
There's a change. I'm young enough in my mind, in my body to want to marry again. And your mom proved that you're never too old to marry
We're
again.
not talking about that today.
I
That's not the
know, I'm
topic.
saying, I know, but she
Uh,
found it's in the finding me again philosophy. You know what
it
I'm saying?
is, and we're gonna leave that right there.
I'm
That's a whole series.
well, we have an episode covering it next time to close the season.
Kinda.
So
Parenting parents. I
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna come up. One of our special guests, she's similar to me, and you know, yeah. So, but today we're talking about you.
Oh, we got to talk about me now. I know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, but
I'm gonna talk about me too, because the steps that I want to share later
yeah,
apply to me even in that area. So,
yeah.
but I can't, Craig. I just came off of several hours of travel, and I shared that in the opening. So I don't have the energy for that today.
Hi, man. Well, I tell you one thing else I'm getting prepared for is I'm getting prepared to get my weight down to my fighting weight
Right.
again. I got down to the lowest I've charted on my reclamation project from years ago before I was even reclaiming anything. I
Uh-huh.
went from 255 ish down to 225,
Nice.
and I was so thrown off when it happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I gained it all right back
Ah.
because seeing it was at a point, I think it was like 2 years after Sandy had passed, and I had gone on this weight loss thing, and my goal was 230, because I wanted to get
Mm-hmm.
back to the weight that I was when I got married.
Mm-hmm.
But I surpassed that and was weighing less. I was like, I was stuck because that
Mm-hmm.
showed me that there is something, that there's life after death in the physical life sense, right? Because initially I was looking at it as, you know what, there's no life for me now because life is gone, and I'm just here being the steward of these kids, occupational babysitter, and that's all. That's kind of the way I felt,
Uh-huh.
you know. But there is life after for me, after her
Yeah.
death. There's life after anyone's death for me because I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
So I began to do that stay. So now for me, I'm looking to lose weight. I got that, and man, I got into some jeans yesterday. So I don't know the video, the picture of the jeans I was wearing. I had not been able to wear those jeans in almost 2 years. So
Awesome.
got in them yesterday, and about to, hit another milestone and slip under 250. Probably by the time this airs, I should be under
Yeah.
250 or pretty doggone close. So that's a huge thing for me. So these are the things that I'm preparing for what's next in getting my health right, getting my, well, not my health. I think my health is fine, but getting it better, getting my physical, health better and stronger, getting my mental health better and stronger, and even cleaning, make sure my workspaces are cleaner and better, and even how I deal with my pets is going to be better
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that there isn't an area where I'm just frustrated. Even one of my vehicles is starting to frustrate me because it ain't
Mm-hmm.
working the way I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I want to go out and buy another car and I'm longing for some other vehicle. I'm saying is that if it's broke, it needs to be fixed. If it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to pay the high cost to fix it, then we need to flip the car and get, or whatever it is, to get to something else that makes sense. So it's not this, I don't want to ride this thing because it's a whatever. We got to be able to make the moves and to
Yeah.
see them when they come and trust that the Lord's going to provide for you to make them, right?
Right.
I think that's, for me, that's been the greatest thing since my life changed 11 years ago. It became
Mm-hmm.
settling for the fact that it's always going to be bad.
Mm.
And it's not going to always be bad. Your dad used to say that. I remember sitting in your church in St. Paul, COGIC, Church of God in Christ,
Come
on
on.
the
Come
corner.
on.
What was I know I can't remember the street it was on. It's anyway. I remember, almost remember,
31st and Imperial.
31st and Imperial. 'Cause I almost said 30th and K because our church was on 30th and K.
Yeah.
And so I remember being in there, and your father sat there going, "Trouble don't last always." And
Yeah.
next thing you know, your mom started banging on that piano, and it became a song that folks started singing. I was like, "What in the unholy hell have we got going
Yeah.
on right?" But it didn't matter
Stop
how
talking
it
about my
felt. No, 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 no. But here's the thing: it didn't matter when you go back and think about it. Well, here we are, right? Almost 43 years
I
later,
know. I
and we're
know.
talking about how the impact that one instance made. Because
Yes.
sometimes the things we do in life took, well, your dad planted that seed, right?
Yes,
Which
absolutely.
now, these 40 years later, have
Yep.
produced a harvest, right? Because I now understand that trouble don't last always, and it don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be pretty. It don't have to sound nice. You don't have to have the proper diction and tone and
Absolutely.
enunciation. It just has to be true.
Yeah.
And it's that those words were never truer because it's those people who knew your father and know your mom, they
Mm-hmm.
knew if your dad, when he needed to articulate a topic, he could switch it up and make sure either way you never misunderstood
Never
what
misunderstood. Never mince
he
words.
never miss words. So
Mm-mm.
didn't matter if anybody thought he was from the country or not. You always knew whether he was in the country, the city, our state, another country, foreign
Mm-hmm.
land, on
Mm-hmm.
dignitaries' platforms, or in his own
Mm-hmm.
driveway, fixing something for somebody else or himself.
Right.
You never misunderstood what
Mm-mm.
Bishop Henry Page was telling you when he
Mm-hmm.
was telling you. So that's a part of the things that we've talked about and shared in this podcast on the last 3 seasons. Boundaries,
Yep.
and making sure people understood clearly how to treat us, make sure we understand how we want to be treated, how we need to be treated, and what we needed to do when we weren't being treated properly. So
Right.
yeah, man, this I'm in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, so many great things. I wanna share because you're hitting on some things that I wrote down that you obviously don't know what's in my notes or in my head or in my heart. And that's what I love about this, the authenticity of our conversations and how it flows and how everything comes together. So I want to share some steps about finding me again.
Mhm.
And I know without a shadow of a doubt, for me, you mentioned Louis Vuitton, and you mentioned Denver. And one of the things that when I was there this time, I was I feel confident that I, number one, I can only be me. And I always say that, all of my friends know I'm consistent,
Mhm.
period. My family knows I'm consistent. Even with my quirks, even with my layers, I need you to stop. I'm gonna get you. What I'm you got it coming because you out here. I have quirks, and that's okay. That's a part of who I am. And I've
I think
learned
I'm
over the
one of your
years,
quirks, though.
huh?
I'm
You
one of your
are,
quirks.
you are. Um, so I've learned that that's a part of who I am, and I love me. And if you misinterpret that, like my dad, if you misinterpret his country mannerisms or country sayings or anything like that, as if you make that a barrier
Mhm.
for getting to understand what somebody is telling you or who they are, and that is their authentic self, then you're actually missing out. And I don't think, we always talk about, may not be everybody's cup of coffee, but I might be their cup of tea. All of those sayings and all of those things are true. My point is that there is no misunderstanding for me knowing now who I am. Case in point, usually when I go to do this work with Denver International, uh, there's a driver, there's someone there. 'Cause I don't do Uber and taxi. I don't. I shared that on another one. I think the companies are great, but that's not my mode of transportation. It's not. It hasn't been, and I don't want it to be, because I've accepted that I feel more comfortable and I feel more safe with somebody that I know. In this particular case, that wasn't set up for me. So I was trying to find a taxi and couldn't get a number for a taxi. And what I followed the instructions that they told me, and I was like, this is why I don't do this. Finally found this wonderful young man who was doing valet, and he called one of his taxi friends to come and pick me up. So that even made me feel more comfortable. It wasn't like I needed to go far. My point is that that's something now I need to communicate up front. I don't do taxi and I don't do Uber, and not feel like that's a bougie thing, even though that it is. But that's my expectation
Yeah.
for who I am. So as I was thinking about that in preparation for this conversation, uh, there are, and I will share them quickly, and maybe Craigie, you can help me. Number one, finding me means I had to figure out what changed. What changed? Number one is figure out what has changed. When did I feel most like me before? And then how do I get not back to that same space, but understand what it is that I actually want now that makes me feel like me. Number two was start with one thing and make it your thing. So there may be many things that I've identified along the way. One is I'm a little bougie, and I like nice things, but mostly I that safety is at the core of my relationships and trust and feeling safe. So when I'm in a car with a stranger, I don't feel safe.
Mhm.
And at least knowing that one other person knows that person in that moment, I'm using this analogy to make it as simple as possible. But these things are deeper than this. But knowing that that one person knew that I was with somebody that they knew, and I had somebody waiting for me on the other side, made me feel more comfortable. So I want to start with that one thing that makes me feel like me again. And that is safety, that is trust, that is knowing where I'm going, and that there's also a plan in place, and practicing that thing is number three. Practicing that thing by making a plan and doing it daily. So make a plan and do it daily. What is that one thing that I need to incorporate back into my life to get back to being me, and practice that thing? That's number three. Make a plan, practice it daily. Okay, I said it three different ways. Make a plan, and practice it daily. That's what it is. That's the end. Make a
Got it.
plan and practice it daily. Because what I do know is that if you don't have a plan, and we've talked about this before, is that my husband was saying, what's that thing his grandfather used to tell him? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Well, my parents told me that too. But you got to make a plan and you got to practice it daily. Practice that thing that makes you feel like you to get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, this is coming from inside of you, not externally, not what Auntie June said or cousin Bobo said. You know, I always knew you was going to be that. Well, maybe I don't want to be an astronaut. I'm afraid of heights and I'm claustrophobic. But we always wanted an astronaut in the family. You know, really what I want to do is I want to be a performer. I want to be a singer. I want to be a dancer. And my whole life has led me up to that. So you got to practice those things that are coming from inside of you daily. Number 4 is protect it. Set your boundaries. Protect it and set your boundaries. You have to protect the thing that makes you you in the most positive way. And if someone doesn't like who you are, that is their problem, not your problem. You have to protect and set those boundaries to maintain the space that you have set aside to do you daily, whether that's meditation, whether that's yoga, whether that's exercising, whether that's writing. Put a time frame on that thing and don't let anybody interrupt your time, because what they're doing is more, they think that what they're doing is more important than what you're doing. And you're getting back to the things that make you whole. You have to protect it and set your boundaries. Number 5, I want to evaluate, is this working? I want to explore the next thing. This is a 3-step process, which could be its own thing anyway. And I want to reflect about it or have reflection. Evaluate, explore, reflect. Evaluate, explore, reflect. Is what I've now added to my daily practice for finding me, for who I am and what I'm doing, is that working? Am I ready to explore the next item that makes me me? Because there's not only one thing that we have lost or that we have let go of that brings us into full communion with ourselves, to be the best version of ourselves, if you will. And then do your reflection. Do I need to make any small tweaks? Do I need to be thinking about something differently, right? Because what I do know in preparation for this weekend, I'm going to be speaking at a domestic violence conference. I'm going to share this one myself, Craig, that you will go back to whatever you were doing before without a plan. You will go back to being abused, neglected, mistreated, underappreciated, underserved, undervalued, abused, mentally, emotionally, physically, the whole gamut. If you don't have a plan to find you and to do the things that you know are important to you.
Yeah. That's facts. That's facts.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Those are great 5 steps. I know we're going to post those in the social, coming up, because if we would just take those 5 steps and figure out what's changed, start one thing and make it your thing instead of being someone else's thing that you're trying to do. And sometimes if it is someone else's thing that you're doing, it makes it personal, right?
Yeah.
Make your plan and practice it. I think that's amazing to do. A lot of us don't. Sometimes the plan needs to be written down.
Absolutely. You got to write it.
Right. You got to just shooting from the hip, shooting from the hip. It's not always the best. And protect it and set your boundaries. Sometimes we're very quick to just, I'll do mine later, and never achieve our dreams and goals because we always are so quick to surrender it and not protect. Mm-hmm. Then the evaluation part, explore, reflect, I think is amazing too, because you have to always refine your process, explore your process, and think about how that process is working for you. And for me, I even look at the reflecting. For me, is I didn't used to like to look back over my life, because I used to always equate the Lot's wife situation. When you look back, you would get stuck. But I had to. I'm learning the fact that you need to look back to see how far you've come, not look back longingly to go back to where you left off from. because I know for a lot of us, there's nothing in Egypt left for us, right? So there's nothing to go
No,
back to. You know what I'm saying? There's a
man.
chasm and a sea between us, and where we've come from. Sometimes it's two seas, or more, depending on where our promised lands and these red seas that we've been
Yeah.
brought through. But I think it's amazing to do that, and those are, I think, really great steps that we need to always put into perspective and put into practice. And I think that's when in doing these shows, Shell, I think when we first started, we always we talked about trying to do things to help families because
Yeah.
we've our families have become, well, let's just put it out there. There's aspects of our families that have become dysfunctional, and it's okay to
Hmm.
admit those. The thing is okay. Now, I have a family member out there that would be like, "Well, you're talking about your family business that in public. You can't do that." Well, I can do it at the end of one because I'm grown. I'm a whole adult, right? But the
Hmm.
reality is, if you don't admit you have a problem, admit there is
Yeah.
a problem, there's no help and no path to ever, learn and correct and overcome the problem, right? So, yeah, we all admit that our families aren't perfect, and
Mm-mm.
that, and when we're practicing these things, is like in coaching, we used to
Hmm.
always hear this, when you're talking about here, practice makes perfect is what people used to tell athletes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but when I started coaching, I remember, maybe I'm an engineer, the tech side of me said, well,
Hmm.
practice doesn't make perfect.
Hmm.
Practice makes permanent.
Mm, mm,
So
mhm.
I had to really change my mindset of, even when I'm doing my graphics or printing or whatever I'm doing, making music, whatever, there's a
Mhm.
process that you need to go through
Yes.
to make your thought process and your motives and your methods permanent.
Yeah.
And that showed up for me when I get a chance to go to the
Mhm.
classes
Mhm.
yesterday. It was the first time I'd ever done a live screen printing demonstration, or I don't know what you would call it, live demo, I guess, a live session.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
What a bunch of people.
with a
Wasn't just
bunch of
like one or two. It was like
no,
a lot.
yeah, and to be able to teach someone, I didn't press a shirt for them. Each one of
Oh,
the people that came up, they pressed their own shirt, they pressed their own tote bag, whatever they wanted. But I had to be able to take the processes that I had already
yes.
permanently ingrained in here and
Yes.
explain them simply to a person who had never seen this before. So if
Yes.
if our practicing of our process doesn't become easily repeatable for someone else to learn from how we do and how we've gotten from where we were to where we are or where we're going,
Mhm.
it goes back to, you have to reflect and explore new processes to make sure they can be streamlined. I've now been able to teach 48 students, 40 people,
Nice.
how to print a shirt, which is, and doing the left chest print, which is really kind of one of the most difficult setups of
Mm.
all, because it's not dead center. There's no
Mhm.
obvious point of reference, and they may never remember how to do that. But they can all say that when they wear that shirt, I did this. And they can
Absolutely.
smile and go, "Wow, you did it looks like a regular shirt." And yeah, it does. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a regular shirt when
As
they
it is.
and the logo on it. But
Right.
when they equate that regular, that's a great compliment
Yeah.
to work that was done, because it looks like commercial. It looks
I
like
love
a
it.
shirt they may have been wearing. It looked everything like they could buy in the store, and it allowed those students, those people, to have a high level of feeling good or feeling some kind of way about themselves for something that appeared to be nervous and outside of their box, so to speak. So everyone was able to get into the outside of the box with me and do that for those few moments for those classes and try something new. And what I think is your 5 steps is helping all of our listeners do and learn is, it's all possible
Yeah,
if we just take our
absolutely.
moments and go. And those are 5 quick and easy steps.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And what I was hearing when you were saying, what practice makes perfect, no, practice makes permanence, is that's why you have to be careful what you practice, because we got here practicing maybe some things that are no longer serving us or served us at a certain point, and we keep practicing it because it's easy. It's easy to go to. It's a default, response. It's a habitual thing. Going back to the 12 steps and all of that we relied upon also for addiction or alcoholism or what have you. Sometimes it's not that we know that the cigarette or the alcohol or the chewing tobacco or something like that is harming our body,
Sure.
but it's the act of having something in our mouth. Yeah. And so we sometimes exchange smoking with overeating, because it's about the act of opening a package, putting something in our mouth and having this feeling. I know that there's a chemical response. I don't want to minimize it, but I'm talking about the simplicity of what we practice and how that becomes a permanent part of what we do. And so if we can put some positive things that are going to serve us, meaning me for a lifetime, not just for today. You and Craig, you and I had that conversation too. It's not about just a plan for how am I going to pay my rent or my mortgage or for this next month that's coming up, because the first is tomorrow. Yeah. It's literally about how am I going to sustain this for the rest of my life, and what does that look like? So that plan of permanence, if you will, it's not that it's not a living document, but it's what are you putting into that document that's going to serve you, not just to get out of this situation, but to live the life that you were designed to live. Because I am a firm believer that all of it is possible.
Yeah, it's all possible. As we close, we always love to have everybody, who are following us on Instagram, and drop us a like, tap in. The Instagram algorithm, they're going to watch your words and not put in the algorithm to make the episode go if I say certain wrong words here. But if you like what you're hearing, if you want someone else to be able to enjoy the same thing, do what you got to do. Help them tap in. Tell somebody about it. And if you you can also DM us there if you've got show ideas, concepts, or if you want to even be a guest and jump in the conversation with us. If social media is not your thing and you're more traditional with your communication style, there's always the Knight&Craig show at gmail.com. Write us, drop us a message. If you know either one of us, you can always text us to a call. Absolutely. Join in and say, hey, I got a thought. This was really good. And I always love hearing the feedback, I don't know. Oh, you're just looking for the next dopamine hit and high. Well, maybe so, but I want to know if something we've said resonates with you and it makes changes for you positively, and if there's anything that we can talk about to help you or do better with helping you, let us know as well. Shell, anything before we close out?
I love it. This was a topic that we kind of came out of our own situations and our own conversations of with other people, and so I'm glad that we were able to tackle this morning and succinctly, and I'm looking forward to celebrating all the things that you're manifesting, and I'm looking forward to celebrating all the things that I'm manifesting with you and with myself, because we got this. I do want to say this though. There were 2 times when you said aspects that I thought you were going to say asses, and so I just wanted to say, because I haven't eaten yet. Haha, it goes both ways. See y'all.
I came to win, I don't mean to offend. The greatest on the mic, mightiest with the pen. Losing never been a choice, but a line is the same. Ascend and word, bending verse, birth in the gym. Akin to the best, never aiming for less. Opposition so foul, got me calling for rest. Who's next to get bested? Mind, soul, and flesh. His antithesis a mess, it's the verses so green. So long, you better catch a God, throw him the scenes. Dreams manifested, you get what I mean. God always had a plan, he created for me. Success only means that I did what he seen. Got the game and the fans locked in like a key. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Yeah, I think we got one.